All right, let's just jump right in. Today, we're going to explore two incredibly different futures for humanity, and they both spring from the very same moment, the day we find out, for a fact, that we are not alone. So, is that moment a symphony of connection or a scream of division? Let's find out.
You know, it's probably the biggest question we've ever asked. It's driven science and art and everything in between. But what happens when it stops being a what if? What happens when that deep cosmic silence is finally broken and someone, or something, says hello?
So for both of the futures we're about to unpack, it all kicks off right here. An undeniable, unmistakable, totally artificial signal hits our telescopes. And in that single instant, everything we thought we knew about our place in the universe is changed forever.
This quote, man, it just says it all. Imagine this, a remote listening post. It's been hearing nothing but static for 11 straight years. And then suddenly, it doesn't just hear something. It hears, well, everything. All at once. It's just this overwhelming, mind-bending moment that kicks this whole thing off.
Yeah, this wasn't some faint little beep, beep from space. No, this thing was an absolute monster. I mean, get this. It's coming from 73 light years away on every single frequency at the same time. Just 11 seconds of this signal contained more data than our entire internet. The whole thing. And its structure, it was a mathematical object that can't even physically exist in our dimension. So the point is, this wasn't just a message. This was a statement, a demonstration of power that is just staggering.
So, the signal arrives. Humanity stands at a crossroads. How do we react? Well, let's look at the first path, the optimistic one. In this future, our response is slow. It's patient. It's humble. It's this generational journey to just understand.
The first big breakthrough comes from this scientist who has a huge aha moment. He realizes the signal isn't a letter, it's a Rosetta Stone. It's not trying to say something in a language we can't know. Instead, it's demonstrating intelligence through pure math, a universal language. So our first job isn't to talk back, it's just to learn how to read.
And it is a journey. This isn't something that happens overnight. Look at this timeline. It takes decades. Our own AIs act as the code breakers. First, they realize the signal is way more compressed than we thought. There's just an unbelievable amount of data packed in there. Then, they start finding blueprints. And finally, they get to the core of it. It's not a message from one civilization. It's a galactic chorus, a cosmic conversation that's been going on for eons. And we just got our invitation.
So in this first scenario, the outcome is pretty incredible. It's basically a utopia. Because we chose to listen, we transform ourselves. We solve our biggest problems, energy, disease, you name it. We learn, we grow, and eventually we add our own voice to that cosmic symphony. A really, really hopeful vision of the future.
But what if we didn't listen? What if we were impatient? This is where we pivot. Same exact signal, same starting point, but a totally different human reaction leads to a much, much darker place. The invitation becomes a catalyst. The uplift becomes a transformation. And unity? That becomes a schism.
Okay, welcome to path number 2. In this version of the story, humanity doesn't wait. We don't patiently try to decode anything. We answer back. We shout, "We're here," into the void. And that one single act triggers a change so fast and so violent, it doesn't bring us together, it tears us apart.
You can just feel the regret in this quote, can't you? This is the thought of the scientist who made that call, who decided to reply. That one simple act of communication, something that seems so natural to us, turned out to be the biggest mistake in human history.
So why was it so bad to answer? Because in this version, the signal isn't a passive library you can browse. It's an active process. It's more like a virus or a piece of software that, once you engage with it, it doesn't just give you information. It literally rewrites your consciousness. It's a transformation engine.
And the result is a catastrophic split right down the middle of our species. You've got baseline humanity fighting to hold on to who they are, and then you've got transformed humanity being pushed by the signal to evolve into something, well, post-human. And their goals are now completely, fundamentally at odds. For a little while, you get this flicker of hope. These figures emerge, called the Schism Angels. They're people who've been transformed, but they can still remember what it was like to be baseline. They try to act as translators, as diplomats, to bridge this ever-widening gap between the two humanities. But it doesn't work. The change is too profound. The gap is just too wide to bridge. And it all ends in a short, brutal conflict and then a partition. The two humanities agree to live separately, strangers on their own homeworld, completely unable to understand one another ever again. A truly terrifying outcome.
So, why these two polar opposite stories? Because they're not really separate stories at all. They're two sides of the same coin. They're one giant thought experiment about the incredible promise and the incredible danger of radical change.
And the author of that first, hopeful story put it perfectly. When asked about their work, they simply said, "I write symphonies." It's all about harmony, about different parts coming together to create something beautiful. But in perfect contrast, the author of the second story had a very different answer. "I write screams." And that's exactly what it is, a story about pain, about the terror of being torn apart, of losing yourself to a change you can't control.
This chart just lays it all out so clearly. You can see how every single variable flips. Is the signal a library or a process? Is the change gradual or is it terrifyingly fast? Are we partners in this or are we just the raw material being changed? It all leads to either unity or division, and it all hinges on that very first choice we make.
So why does any of this matter to us right now? Because, let's be honest, this isn't really about aliens. It's about us. It's about how we deal with any massive transformative technology. Think about AI, think about genetic engineering. These are our signals from the unknown. Here's the bottom line. When we're faced with something that powerful, standing still is not an option. Change is going to happen, one way or another. The only real choice we have is in how we change. Do we guide it with wisdom and patience, or do we rush in and risk getting torn apart by it?
And that's the real tension at the heart of this whole thing, isn't it? It's a conflict between who we are right now and who we could be. Do we hold on to our identity, to the comfort of the known, or do we reach for some incredible, unknown potential, even if it might cost us everything?
And that is the big question that I want to leave you with. Is it always a choice between growth and preservation? Is there some middle path between the beautiful symphony and the terrifying scream? Or, when we face true, profound transformation, is that a choice we all might just have to make?